All right, can you go ahead and say a few words for me?
Like and subscribe if you think Carlos should have another baby with me.
No.
Whatever.
What was last week's cold open?
I don't know.
Because you didn't watch it. You didn't watch the show. Welcome back to Midwest Midcard. This is episode 59. My name is Carlos, and today I'm being joined by my lovely wife. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Taylor.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Good. I'm glad that you're joining me. Brown couldn't join us because he got sick.
Again. I'm just kidding.
He says he got the flu, but could be anything else. I don't know. Maybe he had some sort of STI or something like that.
Okay.
Is
I don't know what an STI is.
is that not sexually transmitted infection, right?
It's STD.
But STI is also a term for it.
I've never heard STI.
Really? Maybe that's only the Subaru WRX STI.
That's what he's got. The Subaru.
He got that new Subaru. I'm pretty sure they call it STIs too. Let me do.
I don't think so.
What is an STI? I could have sworn. Yes, sexually transmitted infections.
Okay, I stand corrected. But look, STD.
It says also called STD.
Okay.
For the ones that are listening I'm not gonna put the screen on here. I'm just if you can't see it, but it's a YouTube.
Just Google
it's a
it.
Google search. It said what is an STI, to which on the right there's a little breakdown that says sexually transmitted disease, also called STD, but also the World Health Organization has it as sexually transmitted infections.
Well, I don't think Brennan has this. Anyway.
You don't think he has an STI or an STD?
No.
Anyway, in the spirit of the show, this is episode 59, Taylor. I already said that, but next week is episode 60, and hopefully, if the planets align, I already know the moon and the sun are gonna align on Monday, but if the planets align, then we'll have Logan back so he can defend the predictions championship, and then Brandon's gonna be back, of course, and we're gonna be getting ready for WrestleMania.
I'm really excited.
You excited for that?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big week.
The stuff is not aligning until April 8th, by the way, which is...
Oh, that's the Monday after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So sorry to ruin your plans.
It's okay. I took the day off on the 8th. Somebody at work asked me.
If you were going to watch the eclipse.
I said, nobody can stop me. I'm going to look directly at the sun. And then she's like, is that why you're taking the day off? So you can look directly at the sun.
We probably should get some of those glasses. And
I thought you were going to say we probably should look directly at the sun.
No, but I do think we should get some of those glasses and take the kids outside.
I guess, but they won't keep them on.
Well.
They won't.
Okay.
Also, I think we're a little late.
I don't think so.
If we go on Amazon right now, it's going to be like...
All right, let's go on Amazon.
This is a wrestling podcast, by the way. All right, so and this time I'll actually make the effort to show everyone. Well, do I really want people seeing what I buy on Amazon? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Amazon.com. If you don't like buying shops, if you don't like buying things on Amazon, I respect that. What are we looking for? Solar Eclipse Glasses 2024. First trending item, okay?
Okay, let's see. It'll be here tomorrow.
Free delivery tomorrow.
Oh, that's crazy.
Holy shit. These are all sponsored, though. I don't trust the sponsored ones.
Okay, what kind of glasses do you want?
This is a 10-pack. Should we get that?
No, I think we don't need 10 of these.
Why no? But these are $9.98, or you can get 5 of them for $7.99.
I would get 5 of them for $7.99.
Okay.
Ooh, but look at the ones below it.
Which one's this?
Yeah.
The ones with the black frames around
Those
them?
are nice.
But also, I'm thinking that like the kids can't wear these. They're still like small. Kids. Can kids look directly at the sun? That's my next search. Can a kid look directly at the sun?
Oh,
Three adult and two pairs kids. $31 though. Holy shit.
look at the green and purple ones on the end. Those are cute.
Yeah, these are $17 though.
And we can look like Seth Rollins.
Kids and adults. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what the right thing to do is here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know because what if it's too big for them? They can't even see it, and then their eyes are not protected.
Honey, I don't think they're going to look directly in the sun.
So it's just putting it. Well, they're also gonna take them off. It doesn't matter. This is. If you, I know this is way deep into the show, but if you're listening on YouTube, make sure that you click subscribe. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment.
So I can have another baby.
Sure. If you think that, leave a comment. If we get 100 comments.
Come on, guys.
100 comments is a lot for a podcast that gets one comment, and sometimes it's a mean one.
Really?
Yeah, I've gotten a mean comment. If you watch the show, you would know that somebody left me a mean comment.
What did they say?
It was something stupid. It was just mean. And it was fun. I don't give a shit, honestly.
Well, I want to know what they said.
It was just like being like, it was the one episode I did by myself, and it was like, you need to stop letting your wife take care of you or something like that. Yeah, it was mean.
What?
I know. They don't know shit either.
Yeah, how did they get that out of your...
Probably because I'm always wearing my ring, so. And when I'm wearing the rubber ones, it's really apparent. Like, you can really see it.
I don't understand what you would have been talking about, though.
Nothing.
That made them be
It was just
like
I'm by myself talking about wrestling, and I just happen to be married. And they think that I make any money off of this. Which, honestly, thinking that I make any... Or, not that I make any money. But thinking that this is my sole source of income is wild. Because... Or thinking that... I don't know. That you're going to take care of both of us. It's pretty crazy.
People are just... Yeah.
I know.
Whoever left that comment...
Your mom's hell.
No, I was going to say you need Jesus. Oh, my. Bless him, Lord.
I'm glad that you're here so we can... because you do watch...
I'm glad I'm here, too.
Why? Well, what are you saying that just to say it? Or do you have more to add?
I was going to add more, but it's okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm glad I'm here, too. So now somebody else can support the both of us.
Oh, nice. You do... I'm glad that you're here, obviously, because we're married. But also because you do watch shows with me. I don't know that... And you have an interesting perspective on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And your view of it is a little less calculated, which is more reactionary, which I think is... I don't think that's a bad
Are you
thing.
trying to say I'm stupid?
No, I'm not saying you're stupid.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying that being reactionary is sometimes better. It just makes the whole thing more enjoyable, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make you like overanalyze things. So this was an insane week. And only Monday happened, essentially. But real quick, on SmackDown, Cody and Roman had their first face-off they've had throughout this whole build ever since back in this would have been September, I think, that they faced off last. After Cody and Jay won the tag team championships, Cody and Jay were leaving SmackDown, and Roman and Jimmy were at the top of the ramp. And they just kind of had like a little face-off. And that was like the first time they had really faced off ever since after WrestleMania. So that was a big deal. And I think either that was like a test to see how people would respond. Or it was just like, we'll just put this in here because Triple H likes to make everything feel like an ecosystem almost. One of the only thing that I can compare it to is that there's a lot of video games where you'll be in a city and the city is there and you're in the city, but nothing about the city feels like things happen without you, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that's really cool about Grand Theft Auto 5 specifically is that even if you're not there, sometimes it feels like things are happening regardless.
Without you like playing them out. Yeah.
Like that's an issue with like the first Spider-Man game. New York feels very dead, and they improved on it on Spider-Man 2, adding more life to the city because, especially in a game like that, New York is also like a different character in the game and in the comics. So whenever you have all these like little things in the background that Triple H will put, you know, the Booker, he'll put like in the, you know, for you to like pick up on, again, it makes it feel like it's like some sort of place of business or a place of work where people kind of get along, but some don't get along, and people in the background are like, you know, talking stuff, and not everything that happens on camera is important. Some things that happen off camera are important. Sometimes it just pays off to pay attention, essentially. Yeah. So if you were looking at your phone while, for example, I don't even remember who it was because I was only paying attention to the background, but during this like little back and forth that we're having, I believe it was maybe like the tag teams, they were like kind of going back and forth. Drew McIntyre was talking with Paul Heyman. And I think that played to like later on Raw, which we'll get to. But I wasn't a huge fan of this Cody and Roman face-off. I think it was lacking, and I think that Dwayne Johnson is to blame for how Roman feels.
I don't think that... I just don't really like the way that Cody's being portrayed in any of the interactions. Like, it seems like he doesn't know what to say, and he's trying to be so politically correct, and like, I don't know, like he's just getting reamed, I think, in all of them. Like, that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
This isn't like the American Nightmare that we've seen in the past couple months where he comes out and like destroy somebody on the mic. Or
yeah, do you think that's the nature of like do you think that's like an evolution of the character? Do you think he's just not as good because he's just surrounded by, well, especially because The Rock is around? Or
I don't know if it's that, or if like he's really gonna win, so they're really trying to make him look as if he's not going to.
I think putting him down as much as you can will help the high feel higher.
Yeah, maybe that's
but
what
also
it
you
is.
Can't sacrifice your top babyface looking like an idiot.
I think he does look like an idiot.
I think he looks like an idiot, but I don't think it's out of character for him to look like an idiot in a way.
And also, like, I don't know. I'm over the promos with The Rock and like all the really insensitive things he's saying. Like, I know that he thinks it's so funny, but like, I don't think it's funny, and he just says the same thing over and over and over.
I get that. I think there's like a fine line. That's an interesting.
Like, it's time to come up with a new joke. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Yeah, it's time to wrap it up, Dwayne. I don't think it's out of character for Cody to be like an idiot in a way. I don't think he's an idiot, but also what they've been teaching us about Cody is that he trusts people, and when he trusts somebody, it like bites him in the ass. It happened with, Brock Lesnar, if you remember. I mean, that's like the last example that I can think of.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, Brock was going to be his partner, and then Brock turned on him. Turned out that Brock didn't like him. There was something he didn't like about him.
Probably because he was a pedophile.
I don't think it's not the pedophile. I don't think it's a pedophile. It's like a sex trafficker.
Oh, sorry.
But we don't comment on that on this podcast, Taylor.
Sorry.
But that's a good reason not to like somebody, to be fair. But he didn't like him for whatever reason. Cody earned Brock's respect. Brock ended up not embracing him, but being like endorsing him after SummerSlam. Yeah. But Cody had to earn that. I think that the moment where
But when is that bit going to be over? Ever since Cody came back to WWE, he's had to earn everything. And CM Punk just comes out and breaks his arm off, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's put him in WrestleMania."
but
Like
that's such a different set of circumstances.
no, it's not.
Well, yes, because first of all, Cody is being presented as like a white meat babyface. Like he can only do good things, and whenever he does something as out of character, again, that affects him in a way, and it doesn't feel like Cody anymore. To me, anyway. I don't think he should be
I
an
think
idiot.
where we're at right now doesn't feel. At least it's not what the Cody I've been watching, and I'm tired of him. I mean, how many years has he been back now?
At least 3.
Yeah, I'm over. Like, let's move on.
He's lacking that fiery baby face aspect of him that I think a lot of us enjoy, for sure. I'll give you that. But I think making him look like a fool will pay off. And again, I think that the big payoff of all of this will not only be Roman acknowledging him, but also The Rock acknowledging him. And it will be very ironic if Roman has to be the one to acknowledge Cody.
I also just don't see how this like ends. Like, let's say at WrestleMania, Cody does win the title, and then what happens to The Rock? What happens to Roman? Like, where does this really go?
Well, I'm not really worried about that. I think that, I mean, to super speculate, The Rock and Roman are probably going to end up fighting because the whole thing about The Rock being, like, so important to this story is that he is overshadowing Roman. And he is overshadowing everyone else. I don't think that's done.
I think he thinks that.
I think he thinks that, but I think that's also being presented, and it's not an accident that it's being presented like that. And it could be like just Dwayne Johnson being an egomaniac for sure, but I don't think that him being in like the final boss, like that whole thing, that's all done on purpose for a reason, and it's not to make. And yes, you sacrifice Roman a little bit, you sacrifice Cody a little bit, but at the end of the day, the whole thing is that Roman has to have a reason to fight The Rock. Them being like, hey, we're going to have a match. We are family. We're going to see who's the head of the table. It
didn't work.
It's not good enough.
No.
Okay?
But also, are we going to have like good guy Cody and good guy Seth as champions?
I think Seth's going to lose the title.
Why?
I don't think Seth is going to turn on Cody. I think Seth hates Roman more than he hates Cody.
Yeah.
And eventually, once this is all over and done with, they will no longer be friends. And they probably will fight for that title. But I do not think that he is going to be the reason why he doesn't get the title or he loses the title eventually.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that I see that happen is if Seth actually beats Cody for the title. I would hold off to have that anyway. I would come back. I definitely want to come back to Cody and Seth, but I would give it some time. Just because it's still fresh on our mind. And then if Seth loses again, then he's just a loser because he's lost to Cody 3 times in a row. And he lost to him with half an arm already. So, like, if he can't beat him with half an arm...
Yeah.
That's why he's been targeting CM Punk because he's like,
oh.
Yeah, this face-off was weak. Cody had good lines on it. He said, "It's funny you say I'm number 2 because I'm gonna be the one at WrestleMania. You know, I'm gonna be the one to beat you." Roman asked Cody to be there by himself on the Raw last week. Of course, Roman wasn't by himself. Solo and Jimmy turned up, which prompted Jay and Seth to also pull up, and then they had a little face-off. So there was your like teaser for like, I still think we're gonna get that big fight during the Night 2 main event. That's gonna involve a lot of Roman's enemies.
I think so too.
And even The Rock's enemies, maybe. Wink, wink, hint, hint.
Who are The Rock's enemies?
I mean, a lot of people. I mean, people like John Cena.
I just want to hear John Cena.
People like
do
the
a
Texas
promo.
Rattlesnake. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, I don't think he's coming this year.
Okay, we'll see.
He has no kneecaps.
He'll be fine. He can wear the knee braces. He's got no kneecaps. Yeah, but I mean, we dwelled a little bit too much on that. I want to move on to the meat and potatoes, man. The craziest Raw episode I've seen in quite some time. And I thought that I couldn't get better because I've been conditioned to think the last hour of Raw is not super eventful normally. So I did have to go back to watch this. But the opener, I got quotes, you know. Cody Rhodes was in the ring. He said, "While I respect you, Roman Reigns, please understand, I hate your guts." That was pretty good, Cody.
You just didn't do the lisp.
Rock popped up. That was pretty insane. I think the crowd initially was like, "Oh my god," and they were like, "Oh, it's The Rock. We actually don't like him."
Yeah.
He said nothing. He stood there. You know, my man he was standing there for 40 minutes. He didn't do anything. You know, he froze. He said something to Cody, but the mic didn't pick it up. Later on, I think he said, "I'm going to make you bleed."
That I was gonna ask you like what you thought he said.
I think that's what he said.
Do you think wrestlers really like say things, or do you think they're like? Pss, 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 pss?
No, I think they talk shit to each other. I think Austin has talked about this, and other wrestlers I've heard talking about this. Austin would go down to the ring and like just yell a bunch of profanities, like big. That's just who he was. So like he was talking. But some wrestlers, especially in the smaller indie shows, because you could hear everything if there's a crowd of like 50.
Right.
They do the fake mouthing of words. It's like, "Yeah, come on, yeah." And like, it looks good, but also like, they're not saying anything, right?
Right.
No, I absolutely think they talk shit to each other. I think they communicate very sneakily, of course. But whenever something's being deliberate, whenever something's being said and is being picked up and I'm in front of you, whatever you're saying, it has to be real. You can't be like, "After this, you know, I'm looking really mad at you, but I'm telling you that after this segment, we got to go to commercial." Like, they're not going to do that. No, they have to actually say stuff. After the main event, so Jey Uso and Nakamura had a match. Jey Uso ended up beating Nakamura. Nakamura's been in a lot of fucking Raw main events. Insane run for Nakamura.
Is he going to WrestleMania?
No. He's going to be in the go-home show, I bet, in the main event. He's as of now not booked, no. But he could end up in like a Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or something like that.
And Bianca Belair still isn't booked either.
Bianca Belair's still not in the show. And now it's weird because we just watched Love and WWE, and she was so like she was like almost upset that Montez did not have a match.
Yeah.
And she was like, she was kind of just like, "Oh, I feel bad for him." It's like, because obviously I have a match. I mean, I'm fucking Bianca Belair. But like, he doesn't. So like, what the hell? My loser husband doesn't have a match. And now she's the loser wife.
Yeah. Well, watch out. That hater commenter might go after them next.
He's kind of like, oh my gosh. So Cody helped Jey Uso fend off the bloodline with Seth, which I told you that Heyman looked like he was talking to Drew. I think that Drew worked with the bloodline briefly, which goes against the stuff he says. And that makes Drew a hypocrite. A true hypocrite.
I like what Drew's doing. I think it's hilarious.
I think he's funny.
He's so fun.
But he's such a hypocrite.
When he was saying the stuff about looking up his kill, I thought it was so funny. I'm excited for CM Punk to get better and those two to fight each other.
Anything that involves CM Punk, to me, it's great.
I don't like him, but I just like the chemistry that those two have with each other.
Well, it's okay. You know what? It's wrestling. It's okay if you don't like one of them.
It's
It's all part of it.
He just like makes my skin crawl, you know?
Yeah. You know what? Bad. That's not really a bad thing. I think it'd be worse if you were just like,
I hope you don't have any fans from Chicago because I'm like,
I love CM Punk. This is the CM Punk loving show.
no, okay, goodbye.
We're constantly like praising CM Punk. So no, this is a very CM Punk positive podcast. You're the only anti CM Punk person on here on this very show.
I just no.
So Cody was trying to fight solo, and The Rock came back, which means that he hung out for a while there. Unless he went to like get lunch or something. I guess dinner. He went to get a snack.
He went to play with what's Pharaoh?
Pharaoh the dog?
Yeah.
He hates that dog. He's always talking about it.
No, he was out back playing fetch the whole time.
I read a really funny pitch about... Because Steve Austin has a lot of history with The Rock.
Yeah.
It was a tweet that was like... the only way... Like, this is going to be great, but the only way this is going to work is if Stone Cold pulls up with Pharaoh on the sidecar of the ATV.
I would love that.
And
oh my gosh. I would love if like that happened.
Yeah. I don't think Pharaoh's like a service dog, so I don't think he'll be like he's like an emotional support dog, so I don't think that he'll be he'll be trained to like do anything. I do think it would be very funny if Steve Austin pulled up with a sidecar with Pharaoh in it. So he was... This was a very one-sided beat up and very long. I mean, he beat him up for like a good 5 minutes.
I know. The Rock can't do anything unless he's like, I got to have a 20-minute time slot to do.
That's true. That's true.
It was just, yeah.
He threw a trash can at him and like...
With no trash in it.
Yeah. Come on, guys. We have to put something in there.
They were the cleanest trash cans I've ever seen.
And they had backs in them too. So they made an effort, but they didn't make enough effort. Or maybe they were actual trash cans.
Maybe this is why, like, I forget his first name right now.
Who?
Mr. McMahon.
Vince? He would have not made that.
You don't think he would have put trash in it?
No.
Really?
Well...
I feel like he pays attention to that kind of stuff.
Maybe. You have to be careful about what kind of trash you put in that trash can. Can't be too heavy. It can only be paper.
Yeah.
Because if you put anything else in there, you're risking like the trash can, the weight of it being weird, the way that it hits somebody. Because if Cody took that to the head, like straight on. I know the YouTube clip cut it.
Yeah.
But on the actual show, it was very apparent that it like bounced off his head. So I don't know how you have to take that. I don't know if that's a bump or what is it, what you would call that. I don't know how you would take that. All I'm saying is that I think it would just be hard to gauge maybe with trash in it. But also it could be that they were actual trash cans that were there, that were going to be utilized.
They just got cleaned though.
Well, maybe. That could be the case.
Because it was the end of the show.
Yeah, and it was...
I don't know. I think we're being too like...
Oh, I mean, we're organizing the trash thing. But he threw the trash can at him. I was surprised it didn't go like boing whenever it hit him like on the head. He said, "Look at you now, boy. Look at you now. Look at you." He said that like
for the whole 15 minutes.
57 times. It was actually very like cinematic in a way. Because it was raining in Chicago. So there was the rain. Cody was wearing like a...
He really did look like a final boss. I'll give you that. Like, you know, when you get to in like Luigi's mansion at the very end, it's like raining and there's the big guy. Yeah.
No, the presentation was great. They just got so lucky with the rain.
Yeah.
And Cody was looking like he was in an R&B music video in the early 2000s with like the open up shirt with like the rain and everything. So it's raining.
He did look good.
Rock is like talking his shit. I thought he was going to throw him over that thing, over the ledge. It looked close.
No.
I was like, this is what he's going to do. He's like, look at you now. A lot of profanity it's like, you think you can just talk shit? He threw him at the bus. Cody was bleeding. We got blood on Monday Night Raw. Intentional blood for the first time. And I want to say 16 years.
No.
Yes, I promise you.
People have bled before this.
Yes, I'm saying this intentional blood.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time someone's bled on purpose, I want to say, in at least 15 years.
Who was the last person?
On Raw? Maybe Shawn Michaels. So
Okay.
if that gives if that gives you any gauge of it, Shawn Michaels retired in 2010. It had to be him. I could be wrong. People have bled. Like John Cena broke his nose on Raw, and he was bleeding from that. But that doesn't count.
I miss John Cena.
Yeah, I did too. Becky Lynch bled from her face, also not intentionally, because her face also got broken, her nose. So they ran. This is your little history lesson for today. I have to mansplain this to you. Chris Jericho, back when he was still in WWE.
My other least favorite.
Whenever I told you about this gimmick he used to do, he used to talk really quietly and really close to the mic so that people would listen to him. He was calling Shawn a hypocrite, and they ran this whole angle where he attacked him. I don't know if this happened before or after, but Jericho accidentally punched Shawn's wife, like in the face. It's not funny. It's
like on accident, or like accident purpose?
On accident as part of the ankle.
Okay, so accident purpose.
Sure. He's actually like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna punch your wife. You know, it was more like Shawn ducked. You know. But they did this thing where Jericho. This is when he first turned heel, so this had to be before. Jericho would do this show called the highlight reel, right? And on the highlight reel, it was like much like Miss TV, right? He had like a screen, a TV, so he threw Shawn at the TV, and I'm pretty sure Shawn bled, and that was intentional. But again, that had to be the last time that it was intentional blood. I can't recall a time where somebody bled on purpose on Raw ever since. That had to be it. They've been PG ever since 2008, like the end of the year. So
okay,
that had to be it. So Cody bled. Finally, my man's been waiting to bleed. He was so ecstatic to bleed that he bled internally once. He's finally bleeding. Well, Cody's a good bleeder, okay? And he's got the blonde hair. It looks really good.
Anyway,
I'm just saying, this is really important. You have to understand this is really, really important.
Okay.
Because not only does it give that edge to the show, but also like to the whole angle. It puts more danger to like The Rock, and he's like, the prophecy fulfilled. Mama Rose, I have the belt right here. I
think that whole angle is so weird. It's weird.
He's just being unhinged and
the
crazy.
The way he says Mama Rose grosses me out. Like it's weird.
But that's not bad. That's good. He said this is what happens when you fuck with the final boss. He had the belt, like I said. He was wearing it. Now, do you think that this is like a permanent thing?
What is?
Like profanity and blood. Not that the show hasn't been like... The show is definitely not presented strictly for kids.
What's the rating? No, actually, listen. I think they're going to be moving to Netflix. Mm-hmm. And Netflix literally does not care what you do.
Well, they don't have a rating. They don't have to have a rating, but also like they're also going to be in other networks outside of just the US. So you would have to attain to certain standards in different countries, but also different countries are able to edit the show however they see fit.
They'll just edit it out.
Yeah, they're currently PG. They're TV PG. Now, the boundaries of PG are not pushed by WWE very much. More recently, they have, like saying bitch. It's something they do more often than not. you can push PG pretty far. Once you start getting into like the sexual content and like drug usage and profanity, that's like the context of the profanity is like really like crude. That's when you're like you have to go into like TV 14.
You already know what I think.
Well, I don't think that they should have that. I think that in a big angle like the one at WrestleMania, blood is important and will carry.
What do you think? Like, do you think they're gonna keep doing that? I think that once they go to Netflix, like they can do more things like that.
I think they should use it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is, and this is a critique that not only I say, but a critique that a lot of us have about Jon Moxley is that he just bleeds a lot.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a fan of AEW. It's so dark. Every match is the same. Everybody bleeds. Everybody, like, yes.
Yeah, and I don't think every match needs blood. I think that a match...
And not every match needs to be, like, this crazy thing. You know what I love the most about WWE? Mm-hmm. R-Truth.
R-Truth is very funny.
He is the best. And, like, every match he's in is so, like... It's not 5 stars, but I'm so, like, engaged the whole time because I just think he's funny.
Wrestling is a variety show. I like a balance. I like the good technical matches. I like a good mess of a match where, like, there's, like, a lot of furniture and they, like, do stupid stuff. I enjoy every aspect of wrestling. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you should put yourself in a box and only have athletic matches. Or only have violent matches, or only have comedy matches. I think that you should find a good balance, essentially.
Well, if I was Triple H, all you guys would get is comedy stuff.
I think a good amount of comedy is good, but again, you have to also find like a good place for it. I think only big matches should have blood. I think only big, heated feuds should have cussing. I don't need Chad Gable being like, you're a dumbass, like.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say all my favorite wrestlers are like the sillier ones.
And even like I know Chad Gable's silly, but like
I love him.
Put him in the ring with anybody, and like he like
does
insane.
A great job. Yeah.
And same with.
I'm ready for him to have like a long reign. Yeah. Who's Gunther going against?
Sammy. So cynical, Taylor. I'm happy for Sammy, man.
No, he already had his push. Why isn't my other man getting a big push? What's his name?
Gable?
No. He's got... Oh, my God.
The whole world. Ricochet?
No.
The Puerto Rican king?
My brain is not working. He has black hair. Kevin Owens.
Oh, Kevin Owens? He's in the United States Championship match.
With who?
Logan Paul, the champion, and Randy Orton. That's a big match.
No.
It's Randy Orton.
Yes. I'm telling you, first of all, I think it's crazy that the same people are in both main events. Like, they don't have enough talent or something. But also, like, those are the only matches I absolutely know are going to happen because they're not building up any of the other ones.
What's the main event? So it has to be percentage.
No, but, like, every week and all over Instagram, like, that's all that they're talking about.
Well, it is the biggest story, I'll say that.
Well, like, can we just...
And also, it involves The Rock.
But the Sami Zayn match and the Gunther match, I literally could care less about.
And that kind of sucks. They're going to have a good match regardless.
No, and it does suck because I love Gunther, and he's been, like, kicking butt this whole, time. So that does suck.
Yeah.
Put Chad Gable in.
Yeah, just make it a 3-way.
No, take Sammy out. Sammy had his time.
Yeah, but Chad Gable had 4 matches against Gunther. And he lost all of them.
But I think that he should not have lost all of them.
That's not true. He didn't lose all of them. I think one of them he actually won, technically, by like count out. He just didn't win him the title. No, it wasn't count. It was like a beat the clock. I don't remember what circumstances were. I'm happy for Sammy. I'm not going to hate on Sammy. I'm not going to turn on him just because I think that somebody else deserves something, Or
I'm not turning on him, but that business is so like, oh, earn your spot.
Yeah, I think he's earned
And
the
not
spot.
that Sammy isn't fantastic, but I think Chad Gable deserves.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Sammy had his moment. Sammy had his main event with his best friend in there.
And he was the year before. He was with the famous dude.
With John Knoxville.
Yeah.
That was very much not a main event match. So it was
No, but
one of my favorite matches.
yeah, and everybody knew about it.
Yes, but I think I wouldn't compare that. I would say
He literally said that was like the highlight of his career.
I would say more that Kevin Owens shouldn't be involved in WrestleMania. He already had 2 main events, and one of them once against Stone Cold Steve Austin. So should he just hang out in the back?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let somebody else do it.
The other matches.
Hold on. I know we've been on this, but if Bianca Belair isn't having a match, why is Sami Zayn having a match?
That's crazy. Sami Zayn hating.
No, I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, that's crazy.
I don't think. I guess
The women's division is just.
Bianca's also been ice cold for a while.
I know, because why are we not using Jay Cargill?
She's gonna be on SmackDown this week, tomorrow.
Okay, it is way too late to build a match now.
Yeah, I guess, but also Naomi and Bianca have been working together. Bianca finally helped Naomi against Damage Control, so it seems like she's helping Naomi only because she likes Naomi and because she doesn't like Damage Control. But is she gonna help Bailey? That's a different story.
I don't think she will.
I don't think she should.
I don't think she should.
But I
either.
think that if she needs to fight, the remaining members,
how are we gonna spell WrestleMania without the EST?
That's so silly. You know what? Speaking of other matches, the other match that's not the main event, that should be a main event maybe,
I agree.
is Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins for the World Championship. CM Punk was back in his hometown. I'll say something I didn't say that I would like to say is that I love the way Raw looks now. They darkened the apron, the LED apron. They darkened the arena a little bit, so the crowd looks more lit up. I guess, ironically enough,
banner.
it's not even that. They darken everything that has the Raw logo. They darkened the stage was dark and obviously was smaller because they had the bigger setup for the I think it's Allstate Arena. So they had that set up. So what changed about the crowd is that they don't have the red lights on it. They have just I guess darkness or it's lit up, but it's you can see the crowd. It's not it's not dark. So I love the production things they've done ever since they fired Kevin Dunn. Everything just looks better, just feels better. It just looks better. Ever since Vince left, the creative just feels better. I think the show is just better. Everything's just better, and they've been needing this for a while. And
Yeah.
you can say good timing that AEW is around, so they can be oh, we gotta step it up, because maybe they're not close, but we don't want them to get close.
Right.
We
Yeah.
don't, because you give somebody an inch, they take what is it, a mile?
Yeah.
Is that the saying?
That's the saying. But I think in a lot of companies, the people that have been doing something for so long just want to be in control, and they can't accept a younger or a newer maybe they're not even young, maybe they're just newer at it, their ideas or whatever.
Yeah, and so far Triple H has had a good track record with his creative decisions. He's not perfect, and he clearly has his favorites. I think he does a really good job.
Yeah, he loves Asian women.
Asian muscular women. CM Punk was back in Chicago. There's nobody like CM Punk in Chicago, man. I'm just saying. He the cult of personality thing is very much I just.
No, as much as I don't like him, I loved this segment with the three of them. It was awesome.
This was so crazy. I felt like I was listening to a conversation not that I shouldn't be listening to, but I just happen to be listening to it.
Yes.
It's like when someone's out in the street and they're like talking and you're just like kind of like lurking. It's like when something's happening outside of your house, your neighbors are doing something and you go outside to like, you know, like sweep the grass or something like that. Like you can pretend to like listen.
Well, I was just getting ready to say the way that CM Punk was reacting to like, you know, Seth Rollins coming out and like banging his head on the mat and like it seemed like genuine, like how I would react to something. So I think that's why we liked it so much. It was like it didn't feel like a fabricated conversation the way that the people that have been pushed every single week, it feels like they have to think so hard about what they're saying.
That's one of the cool things that people yearn for the old days. In the Attitude Era, I felt like everyone just hated each other. Nobody likes each other. People work with each other reluctantly. I think people are friends, but at the end of the day, they all want to be the best. They all want to be the champion. So like nobody likes each other. Like I said, Drew McIntyre doesn't like Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins doesn't like Drew McIntyre, and they both hate CM Punk, and CM Punk hates them back. And I think that's great. I think that makes for good TV.
Yeah. I think the shirts that
Drew McIntyre had 2 shirts on.
I think I like went to get a snack and I came back and I'm like, why is he wearing a different shirt?
He took it off as CM Punk is like talking about him. He's like, are you a Scot with a kilt or like a guy wearing a skirt or something like that? And Drew is like, oh, you better watch those comments or you're going to get canceled.
I love Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre had a really good quote. He said, you don't do drugs, you don't drink, but you spend all your time in rehab. Great bar. As McIntyre is talking about being the chosen one, which was, I guess you maybe got the hint. Punk is like, who chose you? What's his name? Who chose you? It was Vince McMahon. He was the chosen one for that. So this was about CM Punk being like, I am going to be at WrestleMania. I don't care in what capacity. I'll find something. Maybe I'll be in commentary. You know, maybe I'll do that. Mm-hmm. And Drew and Seth eventually came out. And again, he's like, getting in CM Punk's face and being like, you're lucky that like you're not wearing, like that you have the brace on. And this is the closest you're going to get to the title. And maybe you should just go sit in commentary. The crowd was wanting CM Punk to be the referee. At one point, he like went down to the mat and he was like counting.
I think that'd be so fun.
That's your counting arm, and he's like, "Oh, look at this." He might still be the referee. I think that
they could work it out.
The setup is there.
Yeah.
But
maybe something will happen to the ref, and then he'll have to leave commentary. And
I think CM Punk being referee is so perfect because he doesn't like either of them.
Yeah.
So he would be a great impartial referee. And so Punk was like reluctantly accepting. He said, I'll grab some cans. And when I'm sitting down there with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole and all the coal miners, I will do something that you, which he was referring to Drew, the lips on your boots, the shoe polish on your beard, your skirt, all the power in the world, that stupid store you came out to the ring with, and you, referring to Seth, your bell bottoms, your championship, your wife, my 10-year absence, that this company could never do is make you both interesting. That was a bar.
That
man.
Yeah.
That was an insane bar.
But when he said it, it didn't feel like he was thinking so. It literally looked like it just rolled out of his mouth.
No, CM Punk is so good.
He's so good. Like, those are the promos that I'm like, this was so good.
Yeah, it's because he's so good.
And guess what? It didn't take the longest time in the world either.
No.
Dwayne.
He's Punk is not long-winded. He's very good at making a point. I make it very quickly. He actually referred The Rock. He's like, how come The Rock hasn't said anything about me? I heard that Roman was talking about me sitting with Pat. How come The Rock hasn't said anything? He's like, maybe it's because he realized that his arms are too short to box with God, which is a reference to a different promo that Punk did against Rock. I think Rock, he checked his ego a little bit recently, because that promo, the Cena promos from back in 2012, and that Punk promo I think made him very upset, like very upset, and you could see it in his face that he was upset, because whenever Rock is talking to Cody and Seth, you can see that he's like angry, but you can also see that he's like The Rock while he's angry. Whenever he was like looking at Punk, and whenever he's looking at John Cena, he looks very, he looks visibly like flustered, like something like upset him. And I don't think that he first thought that Cena would go as hard as he did back then, and I don't think he thought that CM Punk would go as hard as he did either. I think he thought that he could. I think he thought. I don't think he thought that Cena would put him in his place, but I think he thought he would be respectful to him, and I think he thought that Punk would just fall in line, and it's things that neither of them did, and the unpredictability of that is what makes those original promos so good. But anyway, that's the story for another day. This was a great segment, man.
It was my favorite.
It just felt so surreal to see, and again, it was just fun, and yeah, it didn't feel rehearsed, and it felt like organized chaos.
It felt like a conversation, like they would have in the locker room, like you said you shouldn't be listening, but you are listening, or you just happen to be listening. Yeah.
And this is not to knock. I'm just comparing the other company that there is, but the only thing I can think of is an exchange recently where Ricky Starks is in the ring with, I believe, Bryan Danielson and Adam Copeland, the former Edge. And Ricky Starks says that, like, Edge, he's like, oh, you and those bug guys need to get out of my face, or something like that. And it looks like Edge, like, that made him upset. I think he's pretty self-conscious about his bug eyes.
Probably that he always used to wear those sunglasses.
Oh, you think so? I think he's a little bit self-conscious about that. So he like came back to, he's like snapped at him. He's like, oh, well, at least I don't look like a vanilla midget version of The Rock. But he said vanilla midget, which is like not very much not like a nice thing to say. It's a term that Kevin Nash said before, but the word midget, and I'm sorry to people with dwarfism, that word is like a slur to a lot of them.
Yeah.
They consider it a slur. So I mean, obviously, I'm saying that in context. I'm not actually calling anybody that word.
You know who? Not to interrupt you, but
you're not interrupting.
Do you know who I wish would come to WWE so bad?
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
So bad. Oh my gosh. He's just such a jerk, and he would like fight with anybody so well.
I do think he could.
I really hope it
the latest rumor
works out.
He was removed from the roster page from AEW. He totally signed with them.
If he did, I will be so excited.
I'm saying he signed with AEW.
Oh.
There's a sliver of hope that I have that he'll show up to help Cody or something like that. Because him and Cody
He would not come to help Cody.
Well, him and Cody are boys. They are. I'm sorry.
Well, he would help him and then like stab him in the back.
Well, and that's the thing about that's another thing. I don't think that every good guy should be friends with the other good guys, and I don't think every bad guy should be friends with the other bad guys. I think that bad guys can work together because they're just like they do evil things. But also, like, I do think it's okay if Cody's friends with MJF, even if MJF, I'm saying as a character, even if MJF is not like the nice guy, I don't think that they should only be fighting because one of them is a babyface and one of them is a heel. Much like, as far as Drew McIntyre, he seems very much like a heel, but also like he'll come out and like he'll like greet the fans and stuff like that. So like, what is that? Where does he align himself with like in all of this? So I just think it's an interesting dynamic, and that again, that's why I like this promo. I don't really have much else to talk about because those things were just like
a long time.
Well, not even that. It's just that those were just such big things. Becky and Rhea had a face off. I think this was a good segment.
I don't think it was. When we were talking about them just looking at each other and like saying random things. That's what it looked like was happening.
You think that felt a little more rehearsed?
Yes.
Becky Lynch is a good promo, and I can feel the emotion when she's like upset about Rhea mentioning her daughter. Rhea Ripley's,
I thought it was so rehearsed.
well, Rhea Ripley's cool, and she has a lot of presence. I still think her promo is not the greatest, and I think that cripples other people.
Maybe. Honestly, I think I'd rather see the man fight Dominic Mysterio.
Becky Lynch versus Dom.
Yeah.
I think the back and forth would be a little more interesting.
I do too. You know what, I know that your normal co-star hates Dominic, but he's really growing on me.
I think he's growing on Brandon as well. So.
Okay, good.
So it's okay. Becky Lynch told Rhea, he was like, "You don't wrestle on Raw, do you?" And I'm trying to think the last time Rhea had a match on Raw, and I couldn't tell you. She probably hasn't had a match on Raw in like probably 5 or 6 months, I bet. She had matches at Elimination Chamber. She wasn't. She had a match at. Did she defend her title in Royal Rumble?
I can't remember. But like I feel like when you're a big star, you don't really have like Triple H doesn't make you defend your title very much.
Yeah, but Seth defended a whole ton. I think as the champion.
Think that, but he wants to be like that because he's always like. Remember when he tried to get Cody to fight him, and he's like, "Do you want the workman,
The workhorse champion,
or do you want to be?" I'm sorry, it feels like I'm getting like Izzy's dog hair in my nose. That's why I keep itching my nose.
That's okay.
Do you have something to say?
She didn't say anything. What else? Rhea Ripley said, "I can just post a picture or a video online and watch this freaks eat it up," which is true. I've talked about this before. How, and I'm not saying that intentional, not intentional. I know like you have a different view on this. I think that like, obviously like she leans on her sexuality. I don't think that she's like. I don't think that's all she can bring to the table, but I definitely think that she embraces it. And then, yeah, Rhea Ripley called out. She said, the thing that I said is like, "Oh, you're going to have your daughter call me mommy." And that's what pissed Becky Lynch off. And then they got into the big, well, she punched Dom. And then after she punched Dom, they like had the hockey fight.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I think this was very fabricated, because if somebody like talked to me like that and was like, "Oh, Gwen will call me mommy," I'm not going after your like side dude. Like, I'm punching you.
Right.
You know?
Well, he had it coming. He just happened to be at the wrong spot. Right? What is it?
Wrong. In the
Wrong place at the wrong time?
Yes.
Right place at the wrong time, I guess. That's all I have for you, Taylor. Is there anything else you want to add? You say you're excited for WrestleMania, but some matches you're just kind of indifferent to, or maybe feel like don't have enough behind them.
I'm excited for WrestleMania because I feel like they always do a lot of like obviously cool stuff, and there's like guests, and they've like, I feel like in the past they've brought like people from NXT up, or you know, they've brought people back, or
there's like the spectacle of it all, and obviously like
and I love like the really crazy outfits and entrances, and I don't know, I'm just not very like super excited about the matches. And like, what other women's are they only having the 2 women's matches?
So far we have Io
And Bayley.
Rhea and Becky. I think that's all we have as far as the women right now. Yes.
And it's next week.
Yeah, they could still add again like a tag team title match, or just like a
Well, but why is it like that? I feel like there's so many women, but also I feel like all the women that are coming up are just, they feel all the same to me.
Well, they're trying. They're trying to do something. Like right now, they're building a story with Candice LeRae being just like bitchy, and Indy Hartwell kind of being reluctant to being like that. It's funny because Candice LeRae wears a chili outfit from like Bluey, but then she's also like just being like the worst, like the meanest girl
Yeah,
ever.
it doesn't make any sense.
I think it's funny. I think it's a good juxtaposition. I don't think that every bad guy should wear all black and
No.
be angry.
No, I know what you mean.
So they're trying to do that. At least they need to work on the tag team division. Chelsea Green, anytime she's on my TV, I think she's great.
I love her. You know why? Because she's silly.
Yeah, I think she's just very like. A lot of her character comes out on TV that, not that other people don't do, but I just think character work is really important.
Yeah.
In general, I think that's what really brings you in. I didn't like The Miz because I thought that he was like the best wrestler in the world. I just like
His person.
yeah,
yes.
like his presence. I like the spectacle of it all. That's why like he was my favorite whenever I was growing up, because that's why I liked him. I like that he talked a lot of trash. I like that he, I just thought that he was cool, like essentially. And again, I didn't care that his matches sucked. I wasn't like super invested in how good the match was. I was just like, this is fine. One of my pretty important memories, like when he cashed in the Money in the Bank. I kind of like remember the setup for it all. I was watching, so we lived in a house that had a first floor and a basement. And I was watching the TV in the basement, and my parents would sometimes turn it on upstairs, and I would go watch it with them for a little bit, or I would go downstairs to a TV. For some reason, I had a feeling that he was going to cash in. Because John Cena had retired that night, or something like that. It was so bizarre. No, I mean, it wasn't sad. He was like in the middle of like his run. He wasn't going to retire.
Oh,
but he was like forced to retire or something like that. So he popped up at the end of the show to like attack the Nexus, right? The Miz was supposed to have a tag team match, or a match, and then his little buddy Alex Riley, he did the match for the Miz, like he like subbed in for the Miz. So I was just like, what is the Miz going to do today? Like if he's not having the match, and I just had the feeling I was like he's gonna cash in the briefcase. It wasn't telegraphed or anything. Randy Orton had a title defense. But he was the WWE champion at the time. He was defending the title. He retained the title. He was like exhausted. The show was almost over. And then you heard like Mrs. music hit. So I like ran upstairs and I was like telling my parents, they were like, oh my God, John Cena's back. And then I was like, the Miz about to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Aww.
Like this is more important than John Cena. So he cashed in, he won, and yeah. But I do remember that very clearly because I think my mom was like, you see John Cena came back? And I was like...
You're like, that's not even the biggest part here.
There's bigger things at stake here.
I think that you're the cutest, and I really love you.
Thank you. I love you too. That's all I have for this show. Is there anything you want to plug?
The Lord.
Sure. That's fine. I mean, if that's what you want to promote, that's fine.
Sunday is Resurrection Sunday, so if you don't have a church to go to, come to the Living Church of 5 Mile. We're out in Mount Orem. Service starts at 11 with Pastor Don White. I promise you'll have so much fun. And if you can't join us then, come any other time.
If you're not Christian, if you're any other religion, then, I mean, do whatever you want. Is there anything else?
No.
I guess people don't really have to follow you on social media because...
I mean, you can, but all I post about are like my babies and Jesus, and this podcast like is, I don't know, like if you saw me in real life, I would never like come and talk to you about this stuff. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you want to follow me, at Eric Carlos 97. You can follow this show at Midwest Midcard on all platforms.
Please follow him because it's so hard to support my husband.
We are on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And I say YouTube maybe. You can listen to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Hey, is Brennan doing the Facebook account?
I don't know. He not really. But I also, I guess it's hard because I have to give him the things to post, and sometimes I don't think about that. I only just go and do it.
I'm just picking on Brennan.
I know, but he can seek it out though. He himself can go, and he can look for the stuff, and he can be like, "Hey, what are we doing here?"
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gwen did ask about you if you're watching this, Brennan.
Harder than it looks. That's what I'm saying. It's harder than it looks. That's what she said as well.
Okay.
Anyway.
Goodbye.
Live, laugh, love, and wrestle. And I'll see you next week.